Hey everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the R6 rebuild. Last episode we were finishing up the headlights, and I did say after that I was going to move on to wiring up the rear tail lights and all of the indicators, but I figured I'll do this part first because I don't want to go cutting into these wires here for the round headlights if I can't get this all mocked up and ready to fit. So this episode is basically getting this new one all mocked up to fit underneath the bike. So as you can see, I'm just using the old rear fairing just as a mock-up guide. So when you're putting in those that black underfairing that I was just showing you, it's got tabs that screw into the sides here to basically hold the rear underfairing all in place, which are these tabs right here. So it's got two on either side, one, two, and then the other two over here. This one doesn't come with them, so the idea is basically to get those tabs onto here. I was originally just going to basically cut off the rear part here and change it to this one so I can get the round lights in, but after further looking at it all, it's this one here has got like a bit of a sort of like a round kink to it, so it might be a little bit more difficult to get that all lined up. So I figured I may as well take the longer route about it and cut off the battery tray, because that's one of the main parts that I will need. It also holds the lock mechanism that goes up for the rear seat to unlock that. So it'll have that, the battery tray, and then also the little clip part here to hold in the rear brake reservoir. So I'll still be keeping all of that. So as you can see with this one, let me just get it over here real quick. So the new one, so we get them lined up. You can see there, it's basically just missing the battery tray. So I'm going to get all of that marked up and ready to cut. That way it's just a bit easy. I feel like it's just going to be a bit easier that way. And then I'm maintaining all of this. This one is it's new, it's nicer, and it'll just be better than chopping it off back here, I think. So I'll maintain all of this. And yeah, I'll have to get all of these off, mark them up on this, and then plastic weld them in. And then here as well for the ECU. So the ECU basically just sits up here. As you can see, this has nothing, it's just bare, so it's got nothing to hold anything, and I don't want the ECU getting pushed around everywhere and moving around everywhere. I would much rather it stay in place, and from having a look at it, I don't think I'll be able to get it even zip tied in there enough to keep it in its position. So I'll take these off too. And I can either do all four of these. These are just basically guides. They just basically stop it from rocking like that. These are the only ones with thread, and on the ECU itself, it only has those two parts in it anyway. It doesn't have anything underneath to slot into those, just the two holes there to go into the thread. So yeah, I'll basically just get the soldering iron. I'll melt these off or slice them off with a sharp blade, and then the same with these two, and basically just get them all in line where they're meant to go as best as I can. Rough up this surface and sort of create like a little gully to line them up on and start plastic welding them on, and the little gully is just so the plastic can melt into that gully to create a stronger bond between the fairing kit and the little tabs that I'm welding on. So these are made out of PP plastic, which is right here. It's a very common plastic. It's the same as what zip ties are made out of, so I'm going to be using old zip ties that I've cut off as basically the welding filament to weld in with the soldering iron. I've done a whole heap of this in the past with car bumpers and car lights and other vehicle interior pieces and whatnot, and it works good. You just got to take your time with it and make sure that you've got a proper bond between both of them, and it won't break off or anything like that. But in saying that, they're not holding a lot of weight anyway, so they don't need to be extremely strong or anything like that. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing today. So I'll get all that cut off, all these tabs off and ready to go onto this one. That way, once I've got it all fitted on, and mocked up and it's all working and I know that it's all good, then I can start the wiring of that rear light. The bottom part as well of that black fairing, they clip on in here and screw, or if you clip them in or you screw them in. But yeah, I just need that mounted to the frame properly too. So yeah, that'll be the mission of today. I feel like it is the longer way to do it, but at the end I feel like I'm going to feel a bit more satisfied, and you know, when I'm thinking back on it, I'm going to know that it's been done properly, it's all in there properly, and I don't have to worry about it falling off or stuff inside of it getting pushed around when I'm riding. But yeah, so this is the two round lights. I've got it mocked up in here with zip ties. The zip ties actually hold it extremely well. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to need to be wiring up here. It is a different plug to the original light. So the original light uses this old school one here. It's got all these wires going into it. So I'm going to have to figure out how to go about all of that. So what I'm going to be doing is just pulling all these wires out and using this plug and replacing this one, and then just putting these wires into here and seeing if I can get them to all work through this plug and just plug it straight in. I believe these are for the indicators, because inside of these, so the light itself is LED, the brake light and the tail light, and then it's got integrated indicators, so they do indicate as well. But I do need to put in side indicators anyway, because by law you're meant to have indicators 30 centimeters apart, and these aren't 30 centimeters apart. But yeah, I've just got this mocked up here with zip ties as well. It didn't come with any screws or bolts or anything to hold them in. You can definitely do that, but I just put these in to mock it up, and I've tried moving this thing and it is solid as anything with these zip ties in it. So I'll probably get the bigger zip ties and chuck them in and just honestly leave it zip tied in there, because that's really not going anywhere. And it'll save me getting all bolts and washers and everything like that, and just, yeah, it'll just be messy. I'd rather just do that. But yeah, I will stop yapping away now, and I will get all of this set up, and I'll start lining up pretty much where I'm going to cut, and get it all mocked up and lined up. So when I cut this off, I'll get it all lined up with this one so there's no gaps or anything, and see how we go with it all. Yeah, sweet. I'll continue the video once I've got everything set up and I'm ready to go. Cool. Alrighty, so I have these two laid out next to each other just to get them all lined up. They are pretty much identical, apart from obviously the rear light section there, and this one obviously doesn't have any tabs, or like these tabs or anything like that. But the rest of the holes do line up, so, and they are basically the same length from here to the back. So what I need to do is, you can see here that this has got its leftover bit of excess part here, all the way down here. So you got like your two triangle bits there, and then a bit there. When you lined up here, you can see, you know, you've got your triangle part there and a little bit of that excess part there. So what I'm going to do is, because I want to keep the structural integrity of the strap for the battery, as you can see, it sort of goes down there. So I don't want to cut it near that. I want to cut it a little bit away from it. So I'm going to probably go from here and just sort of straight through here and leave like a 5 to 10 mil gap from that part there. And whatever doesn't line up, basically, if I leave too much of that, all I need to really do is just take out a little square slit cut out of there, so that feeds into it. That way they sort of, you know, join up and meet as flush as possible. It is the end part of the fairing, so it is going to be fairly tucked in to the bottom, so it's, you're not really going to see it because it's just going to be so far down there, but I am going to try and get it looking as best as I can. But yeah, so I will have another look at this and start chopping away, and let's pray to the bike, or the, I don't know, the fabricating gods, that I don't stuff this up. It is extremely daunting, but it's also very exciting at the same time, because I'm going to have a whole new look on the bike, which is going to be awesome. But yeah, it is scary, but the best thing to do is just get into it. If you stuff it up, I mean, anything can be repaired, as long as you don't stuff it up too much, I guess. Alright, sweet, let's get into it. Alrighty, so I've had another good look at it on the bike, and what I can tell is, so this part here, the only thing really stopping it from going in more, which I need this part here to go in more, is it hits here. So when I was lining them up and I was looking at it, I looked underneath it, and you can see this part here lips up, but the main issue is just these side parts here, so this one and this one. So I've got a little bit of an idea. Instead of me just chopping off heaps of plastic and trying to get them on the perfect cut to have them both flush on each other, I figured since these are stopping this from going in, I might just cut down through here some slits for this to slide into it on this side and on this side, because if I do that and then I get it to slide in, you can see that it might just slide in and just squeeze together like a little puzzle. So this round part here will just slide perfectly into this round part. I'll give that a go. If that doesn't work, then I may just have to get rid of the whole plastic part here in general. But I'll give it a go. I'll get the angle grinder and I'll start having a bit of a play around with it. Okay, so after messing around with a little bit, I worked out a sort of a better way to do it. So I just cut off all the tabs here that were in the way, and then that part there that was in the way as well. I honestly didn't need to cut off so much, so that's my mistake on that one. I just didn't see how it was meant to go from the beginning. I thought I needed to cut some stuff off, but what I've figured out is that this part here, you can basically just tuck it where these two holes are. So this part here, you can basically just tuck it under the whole thing there, like that, and then just go straight up. Sorry about this, trying to hold everything. So it's tucked under there like that, and it just sort of, you don't even really notice anything, because once it goes over it like that, it has covered up all of the cuts and just all of the imperfections and everything, so you literally don't see anything. But I'll take this out real quick and I'll show you what it looks like when it goes over it. But yeah, I mocked it up off camera and that all fits in perfectly now, so that'll be great for that. So now that I know all of that works, we can get onto all the other stuff. But yeah, so pretty much that'll go in, and then this part here, as you can see, it'll just slip straight over like that, and then it just kind of looks like they're a two-piece basically, which is awesome. With these holes here and these tabs, what I'm actually going to do is, well, these holes don't line up too well with the tabs, but what I'll do is, because this still has a lot of the tab left here, I'll clean all that off, get all the excess shavings and shit off it. But I was thinking I can get my drill and drill holes in here, and then matching holes on that one. So that way when I put it together, I can just slap in some of these plastic clips. That way it's not dangling, and that way they're attached to one another and it's a bit cleaner. But yeah, sweet. Now that that's done, I'll get this up on the bench and I'll start getting all of these off and all of the clips and ready to plastic weld them onto here. Fingers crossed that all works out, because that will be great. Cool, I'll get it all set up and chuck it all up there and we'll get into that. Alrighty, so this one here, I'm just going to get the soldering iron and I'm going to see if I can just melt them off from the contact points. These ones should be fairly easy, it's just these ones here that might be a little bit more difficult. I might just get the two main ones with the thread in it, and then I may just take one of the small ones and one of the bigger ones here and just have them on a diagonal axis like that. That way I don't need to do all of them, and it's still going to stop it from sort of wanting to rock backwards and forward. If that doesn't work, I will just get these ones off and do all of them, but I don't think I'm going to need to do that. But yeah, to do that, I'm just going to grab my soldering iron. This one's just a battery powered wireless one. I think it has maybe 30-40 minutes worth of charge on it, so it should be enough to get them all off. I may have to chuck it back on charge again to start plastic welding them onto the new one. But yeah, this is just, if anyone's interested, they're pretty cool. You just basically turn it on and hold down the button to heat it up. If you release off the button, it starts to cool down straight away, but it's just this one here. Basically, it comes in a little kit. They're pretty handy to have, especially if you go camping and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'll start digging into this now and see if I can get it all off. Alrighty, so the first issue that I've come across with this is PP, so I think it's polypropylene plastic, I think that's the name for it, and this is ABS plastic. So Usually PP and ABS don't weld together. I'll see if I can get a little bit to weld onto this. If it doesn't work, then worst case is I just rough this up more, really get some good grooves and sort of indents in there, and then I'm just gonna have to super glue or some sort of other bonding agency and just bond them onto the plastic. That should work too. But yeah, I'll try welding it first. If that doesn't work, then yeah, I'm gonna have to bond it another way to here. That, or I basically just glue the bottom and then let it dry, and then just put glue all the way around the side, and then that should hold it. This is really good stuff, so I'd say it will hold it. So I might do away with the plastic welding altogether if the glue is good enough to hold it. So I'll get these roughed up a bit more so that the glue has something to bite into. And yeah, we'll go from there. Yeah, so I don't have really rough sandpaper, but what you can do is you can rough it up a little bit with like a flat head, just so you've got like little gullies, not massive gullies or anything like that, just decent little ones. That's going to create a grip and basically help the glue bond in. So it's really rough now, so that the glue is going to seep into that and create a good bond between the clip, or the mounting screw clip, and the base of this fairing, the under fairing right here. You'll want to rough the bottom of this up a bit too, but yeah, I'll do all of that. I'll get one, I'll get them lined up, I'll make sure that they're spread apart the correct distance, and get onto all the rest of them. Yeah, I'll let all of that sit overnight and get back to it in the morning. It's the afternoon now, and midges are really bad here. The mosquitoes are really bad in the afternoon. They just all come out and start biting the crap out of you. So I'll leave it there. Alrighty guys, so I've left this overnight, hoping that the glue would bond quite well to the plastic. Some of them did. These ones for the ECU are on there quite a bit. We have a quick little paint over as well. The spray can was running out of air, so it's a bit spotty, but you don't get to see it anyway. It's all covered up. These ones here and these ones seem to be staying on, but these don't get used anyway. On the old one that I didn't notice was, it's got these parts here that stick all the way up, and they reach all the way up to the rear frame of the bike and bolt into the sides here. So you got one there with thread in there, and the other one thread in there. This one doesn't have that, and I'm not going to go chopping them off and trying to bond them onto the new one, because that's just not going to work out. But yeah, these ones here didn't bond very well. There's just not enough surface area for them to bond onto the new ones. So I would be able to plastic weld them, but I just don't have the correct plastic filament to do that. So I'm just going to completely forget about bonding that, and I'm just going to go the old trusty way, which is zip tying it. So I have found some points where I can zip tie it onto. So like I was saying earlier on in the video, I can implement these holes or re-drill new ones, and then drill through here and here in the battery tray, and then clip them together or zip tie them together. Another place for me to zip tie to would be from the bottom parts here around a bit of the rear frame, and then the top I'm going to utilize the rear tail light brackets here. I'm going to leave these zip ties in, but I'm going to run more zip ties through it, and either through one of these holes on each side or just straight through this whole tube with the zip ties, and that will ensure that it is the bottom part and the whole rear fairing is connected properly to the rear subframe, rather than just having the under fairing clipped into the fairing there. That'll just be rocking everywhere, so I need to get it on here. It's even with the brackets, the original brackets that it had on there with the clips going through it, it really only holds it on there a little bit, just enough so it's not shaking around. So if anything, the zip ties are going to do the rear fairing more justice by holding it in place a lot more. So yeah, I'll get into that, but I have got the battery tray all mocked up in there. I've just got it screwed in sort of loosely so I can work around everything, get all these wires in there as best as I can. I am going to get this all in as well with the... I was going to do it with this. Oop. I was going to do it with this one. Jeez, almost lost that. Lucky it's not the new one. Yeah, I was going to do it with this one, but realised I would have to take it all apart anyway, and if I'm going to be zip tying it, I'd rather just do it once. So I will use the new rear fairing that is inside, so I'll bring that out and I will get it all connected to this one and all the rear fairing done. I'm not going to put any of the seats on because I want to leave this all open because of all the wiring. I need to do all of this, get the ECU connected, get it all zip tied and in place so it's not rocking around anywhere. Alrighty, so I've got all of that in. It didn't work out the way I wanted to with getting all of these bits on. I ended up just taking them all off because they just didn't bond very well. so they just weren't doing any good for it. So I took them off and I've gone a different route. It ended up working out a lot better anyway. So basically, I've got everything back in. I've got the rectifier all back in. I've got the battery tray that I cut off of that one back in here. That's all nice and sturdy. That's not going anywhere. All the cable for the headlights running into it. Everything plugged back in. Everything running properly. I do need to tighten these up a little more to somewhere, but for now they're okay. I do have the ECU in here too. I've got the padding on the top and on the bottom just to sort of have it in there a bit more sturdier. Sitting under here, I am going to run a zip tie through these holes around this bracket here, just so that it's held in there nicely. But yeah, basically what I've done was I sort of joined them like that with zip ties to the battery tray, and the fender joins together through that, and that I just drilled through. You can't really see because there's wires in there, but there's one on that side just the same as this one, and then I just basically zip tied it in, so underneath it just kind of looks like that. I'll get rid of that. But yeah, you can't even tell at all. Like, it gets to the point like that, so it just looks like it all sits flush. And then the rest of them are all just held in with the clips, and then I've zip tied here because this needed a little bit more strength to hold it in. The clips weren't doing a good enough job, so I've just zip tied it in, which is much better. I've chucked these back in. But yeah, it's looking extremely good. It really changes the look of the bike, makes it look a lot more aggressive, which I love. That's what I was going for. Just, yeah, a much more aggressive look, and I just love those round headlights. They look awesome. They're kind of like afterburners from a jet, which is absolutely awesome. The only other thing I need is the what do you call it, the to hold the number plate and the indicators, the tail tidy, sorry. So I should have that in a couple of weeks, and then I'll get that all placed into here. So I'll either use this one or this one, or the top ones, just to get it up a bit higher. And then I'll run like a bracket on the inside, like just a thick piece of plastic or a bit of metal, just so it's not just bolted straight to this, so it's got a little bit of structure to it. I'll do that. I did play around with the wiring. I chopped off the original plug for the taillights because it doesn't match this one, because they're from different generations. I did chuck these wires straight into the plug and test it out. The rear tail light works and the brake lights work as well. I tested out the indicators that are integrated into these. I got them working. They were hyper flashing, but then I chucked in that, where is it, that new slowdown resistor plug that I had. So this basically just replaces the original one, and it's plug and play, and it will just slow down the indicators when you switch over from halogen to your LEDs. I chucked that in and that works. Whether or not it's going to work on all of them, it's meant to, so fingers crossed for that. But yeah, that's done an excellent job. So yeah, I'm going to, on the next video, I'm going to wire up the tail light. I'm not going to do the indicators. I'm just going to wait until I get that tail tidy so I can do all the indicators together and splice in the separate indicators here, because I want to splice these into the indicators on this one so they all work together. I'll do all of that. But yeah, on the next one I'll do just the tail light, and then I'll get around to doing the indicators on the front. I need to do the indicators on the side, and then also I want to get the indicators on the mirrors, the side mirrors working, because they have integrated indicators in that too, so I want to splice them all in together. So I'll do that, and I'll tidy up all of this, and once that's all done, it's pretty much ready to have all of the front fairing kit put on it, the tank put back on, and basically ready to go. I do need to order a new seat. This one's fine, but it's just, you can see it's just old and it's got indents all through it, so I definitely need to get a new one of them. I do have my eyes set on one, but I'm just waiting to order that. Just got to save up a bit more to get it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're getting there slowly but surely, but yeah, it's good. Liking the content so far, don't forget to like and share it. If you have any questions about anything, just comment. I'm happy to answer. And yeah, if you're liking everything, subscribe. A big thank you to everyone who subscribed so far. It means the absolute world. It's good to see the channel's growing. It's getting there slowly, but you know, progress is progress. So yeah, but yeah, if you're liking it, subscribe. It's for free, so you know, why not? If you're enjoying it, just hit that button. It helps me out a lot. I'm enjoying making all of this. Like I said, it was never my intention to record any of it, but I just figured I'd do it for myself and have some fun, and I'm sure there's other people out there who will enjoy it. So yeah, big thanks to everyone who's tuned in and who's keeping up with it all. Catch you guys on the next video. Peace.